The Adventures of Toto. In the title, Toto is referred to a monkey, and in the story, we are going to talk about his adventures. So let's start the story. Have you ever had a baby monkey as a pet? Toto is a baby monkey. Let's find out whether he is mischievous or docile. Mischievous means causing or showing a fondness for causing trouble in a playful way. Docile means ready to accept control or instruction, very submissive. As we all know, monkey is not an animal to rear as a pet. But today, we can see a number of animals that have become a part of our homes. Toto too became a part of the author's home. He was brought in by his grandfather. Let's find out how grandfather got Toto. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees. A Tonga is a horse-driven carriage, as you can see in the image, and a trough is a utensil where food and water is kept for the monkey, as you can see here in the image. 5 rupees has very little value in today's date, but this story was set long time ago when 5 rupees was a lot of money. So grandfather could buy Toto for only 5 rupees. The Tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough. And the monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided to add that little fellow to his private zoo. As grandfather had a very soft corner for animals, he could not tolerate the little monkey in that miserable condition. So he decided to bring that monkey home. And thus he paid the 5 rupees and bought the monkey and made him a part of his private zoo. The word zoo again informs us that grandfather had a number of animals in his house. In the next paragraph, the author gives a very interesting description of Toto. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were a pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. Deep-set eyebrows means eyes that are set deeper in the eye socket and the eyes look larger. And you can see a glimpse of Toto's pearly white teeth, a beautiful smile, isn't it? Anglo-Indian ladies means whose ancestors are both from India and Britain. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. We all know that monkeys have very dry hands, and the author compares the dry hands of Toto to the pickles that we eat. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked. The author tells that Toto had very active fingers and he can do anything with it, and even disturbing things. That's why he calls them wicked. And his tail, while adding to his good looks. Grandfather felt that, or believed, a tail would add to anyone's good looks. Toto's tail not only added to his good looks, but it also served as a third hand. Toto could do almost anything with his tail. He could hang from a branch. He could scoop up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. So Toto was doing all kinds of acrobats with his tail. Delicacy here means tasty dish. Grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So this clearly gives an idea how grandmother reacted to the habits of grandfather. She did not like her husband bringing in all kinds of animals to her house, and she objected it and complained it. But did grandfather really listen to her? So it was decided that Toto's presence should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. This again shows that grandfather really knew how to handle the situation. He was quite positive and confident that his wife would accept the animal when he talks about it in a way or at a time when she was in a good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into the wall. A closet is a tall cupboard or wardrobe with a door used for storage. A peg is a short pin or bolt that is used for securing something in place or hanging things on or marking a position. In the next paragraph, you can see Toto's very first monkey mischief in the house. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and a school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. So you all can get an idea how destructive Toto was, tearing away the wallpaper and turning the school blazer of the author into shreds. I wondered what grandmother would say. But grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. This shows how grandmother and grandfather would look into things. When grandmother would be shouting at Toto's destructive habits, and in the other hand, grandfather would really be pleased, accepting a monkey to behave as a monkey. He is clever, grandfather would say. Given time, I'm sure he could have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window. So grandfather, you can say, was a cool man who really knew about animals. And he thought that Toto really behaved normally as a monkey should be behaving. And so he did not make a hue and cry. In fact, was very pleased with it. This paragraph will give you an idea about how Toto became a problem to the other animals in grandfather's zoo. Toto's presence was still kept as a secret in the house. Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters, where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his companions to sleep at night. It's really wonderful to see so many different kinds of animals living together in one place. And the only animal that cannot, mix up with them was Toto. He was a nuisance to them. He would not allow them to sleep at night, and it really became a problem to grandfather. Grandfather was totally helpless. What would grandfather do then? He had no other way but take along Toto wherever he went. The next day he had to visit Dehradun and collect his pension in Saharanpur. So he decided to take this naughty monkey along with him. This paragraph will give us an idea about the funny incident that happened in Saharanpur. The author could not accompany his grandfather on that trip to Saharanpur. However, grandfather, while coming back from the trip, told him what happened there. So let us see what happened at Saharanpur. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. This with some straw at the bottom. became his new abode. Abode means home or place where Toto would be staying for the next couple of hours. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hands through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. So, once the canvas bag was closed, Toto could not come out of it, and he would be safe there. At the same time, the author's grandfather would also can complete his work at peace. But we all know a monkey would not remain still and quiet. So what did Toto do then? Toto, though, could not come out, but he made all the efforts to get out of the bag. And while doing so, something very strange and funny happened. The bag started to roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air, and everybody was attracted to it. The strange movements of the bag attracted a curious crowd of onlookers on the Dehradun railway platform. Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnstile, Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. Turnstile is a mechanical gate that you can see installed in railway platforms or airports. So you can imagine how the ticket collector reacted to this. Anybody would have got, a shock of his life, and that is how he reacted. This paragraph will give an idea about grandfather's annoyance and the ticket collector's attitude. When the ticket collector saw the wide grin of the monkey, he was taken aback. But with great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." When the ticket collector termed Toto as a dog, grandfather was very much annoyed. But on the other hand, the ticket collector did not want to waste his time discovering the animal inside the canvas bag. So he referred it as a dog and asked grandfather to pay for it. Now here comes one important thing. According to railway rules, only a dog was allowed to travel in a train. "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." So the ticket collector told grandfather. In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that a monkey did not qualify as a dog or even as a quadruped. A quadruped is an animal which has 4 feet. Thus, grandfather had to pay 3 rupees as a sum of Toto's fare. Then grandfather, just to get his own bag, took from his pocket a pet tortoise and said, "What must I pay for this?" Grandfather was so annoyed with the ticket collector that he wanted to get back at him. So he simply took out the tortoise and wanted him to recognize the kind of animal. The ticket collector maybe was not in a mood, and he just looked at the tortoise and prodded it with his finger, gave grandfather a very pleased and triumphant look, and said, "Oh, it's not a dog, so there will be no charge for it."